Hey guys, wanted to go ahead and do another quick knife overview and to go from there. So normally I would just have like a long video with all the different types of knives and to explain, but I think it's just better if it's just individually like a small snippet about the knife and to go from there. Okay, so this is the TRM Neutron 2, the Three Rivers 2. Now you're going to ask me, that doesn't even look good because, like I said, one of the things that I do with these knives is that I have a weird rule. And basically, I only review knives that I think are aesthetically beautiful, that I think actually look nice. That removes a lot of, like, cold steel. It removes, like, a lot of Benchmade. It removes, like, a lot of, like, knives that I think just don't look good. You know what I mean? And that's been the case with every single knife I've reviewed so far. But this knife is an exception, and I'll explain. This knife, the Neutron 2, is one of the most, this is one of the most coveted knives in the entire knife community. This knife is everyone has so much great things to say about it. So
a shining freaking gem. It is one of my very favorite knives, and it is absolutely an easy recommend.
Controversial here. I think TRM are just as good as Chris Reeve knives.
Similarities, and it's just personal preference as to which one you want. I personally love having both in my collection. I am very...
This just makes me want to have one of these. This is incredible.
I just want to say, so the way I review is I do it in three ways. First thing is, why did I buy the knife? Second thing is, things you should know about the knife. Third is basically what are my overall thoughts. Okay, so why did I get this color here? I didn't want to get this color. So this website and the people who make these knives, they only build a small amount of, a small batch of knives, and then it just sells out. And then a new batch of knives comes in and it sells out right away. So I wanted to get black G10 scales. I wanted to get titanium. I wanted to get other sorts of versions of this knife. And if you go on their website, it goes sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out. It's you can't even buy it. And you can't even buy this knife at full price, at regular price. I had to pay double. I shit you not. I had to pay double to get this knife. So why did I buy it? Because I'm fucking curious. Because everyone's saying this is the best pocket knife ever. Ever. I've seen Cedric. Cedric actually has hundreds and hundreds of knives, and he chose this as his number one. Before I go on further, disclaimer, I am very new to pocket knives, so if I just seem like I don't know shit, please note I don't know shit. That's just the way it is. Okay, all right. So let me just bring up my notes here. What are some things you should know? First thing you should know is this thing is overpriced and rare. So basically, what's going on is I had to pay double for this knife. This was so I paid $340 for this, and this knife normally retails at $100. A lot less than that, but you can't get this at its normal price. If you want to get this knife, especially if you want to get it brand new, no way. You're gonna pay a lot more. So it's kind of a little bit, in my opinion, I don't know if it's overpriced, but I would definitely say it's expensive. You're gonna be paying more than how much it normally costs because it's so rare. And that's what I noticed about a lot of these knives that I'm starting to understand is that basically a knife will come out for a little bit and then it just disappears. And then it just then people crank up the price on them. Now, knives, in my opinion, are nowhere near as expensive as microphones. Microphones are way more expensive. Microphones are way more expensive. But still, it's just so interesting to see the dynamic of how a knife basically starts at $100 and then over time it's $300. It's just it goes up in value. So that's the thing. The first thing you should know. The second thing is, this is an extremely lightweight knife. When I was actually looking at it, I mean, this is really pretty damn lightweight. And I would say, I don't really have much knives to really compare this to in terms of lightweight, but, well, actually I do. I have the Quiet Carry IQ, which is probably the closest, but that's an entirely different knife. So this knife is about 2.2 ounces, so it weighs about the same, but this knife is way different. And so the locking system here is spectacular. I mean, it's really easy to lock. I just noticed right away, it's very, very easy to... Now, please note, again, I don't know how to use knives. Most people one-hand them. I'm not at that point right now, so I'm just going to two-hand everything, but I noticed the lock is very, very forgiving. It's very easy, very right on the fingers. It's so smooth. Oh, another thing I want to say, and I wrote this here, I have nothing to compare this to. Out of every single knife that I have, this knife is so unique. I have never seen or felt a knife like this. This is so lightweight, ergonomic, thin blade. It's so freaking ergonomic. I don't understand it. And let me explain to you like what I mean. So there are two knives that I have that I think have excellent ergonomics, but they are way thicker. So for example, I have talked about this knife a lot, the Altus. The Altus is such a, for my hands, which are 3 inches across horizontally, for my hands, the Altus has amazing ergonomics. It just fits perfectly like a glove. It's so great. But when you compare it, this is so much like thinner. Now, let me talk about another knife, which I reviewed about a couple days ago, and it has excellent ergonomics. So this is the, what is this called? This is the Tribeca by Giant Mouse. Excellent ergonomics. But here's what's a trip. This thing has excellent ergonomics, but it's super thin. And that's really weird because, I have this knife, which is the Quiet Carry IQ, and this kind of little digs in a little bit on the pocket clip. I usually take out pocket clips because most pocket clips just don't do anything for me. The pocket clip does not eat in. It is so ergonomic. I'm bearing down, and it is extremely comfortable. So I can tell right off the bat that in terms of the ergonomics of this knife are spectacular, right off the bat. The other thing I want to say is, ergonomics are excellent on this. Talk about the Altus and about the Tribeca. Yep, I did it. This has no play. So right here, no play, right? So I know people like to look at that. And also, I know people also like to look at this as well. It's centered. It's basically dead on centered. The other thing is, this kind of going on this, and I know this sounds silly because I'm not doing any cutting tests, but you know what? There's tons of cutting tests. Cedric actually goes through and he shows you cutting tests. He cuts all these ropes, and everyone shows you how awesome this knife is, and it really is awesome. It's really just a light, thin blade that can cut. It's slicey, and I'm not at the best at doing that. That's just kind of my, I'm not as well versed in that. But overall, I can definitely say that this knife definitely is very ergonomic, extremely lightweight. The knife seems very slicey. Now, I did write here, a bit overpriced. It is a bit overpriced. It's overpriced because you cannot get this knife from them because they make so few of them. So what happens is someone buys a knife and they double the price on you. So it is overpriced because they're overpricing it. Now, I don't want to say this knife is overpriced because people are going to be like, no, it's worth it because it's this. What I am trying to say is you will not find this knife full price right out the gate at its normal regular price because someone buys it and they crank up the price. It's a weird dynamic I've never seen, and it's so different from when you buy microphones because microphones are just kind of at best, a Neumann TLM 103 might maintain its value at around $800. A Shure SM7B will stay around $350. But you don't see a Shure SM7B go from $350 to $700. And that's exactly what's happening with this knife. It goes up in price. So it's almost I can definitely tell why people would say this is one of the best everyday carry knives. And so that's my 2 cents regarding that. So